Yo, what's going on, Snipers, and welcome back to our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode we had the draft and the re-sign stage, and we did let go of quite a bit of players, including like a lot of the guys that took a bunch of penalty minutes, including like Sean Avery. I think we also let go of like Brendan Witt, Robert Svala. There was a lot of guys that took a lot of penalty minutes, so we're just trying to make our team a little bit more disciplined this off season. So we do have a few comments I'd like to go over before we get into those free agent signings that we're going to make. So the first one is from Kig Rodov. He says, I don't think you could relocate to already existing markets in franchise, just a heads up, because I asked if you guys wanted me to relocate to Winnipeg, but unfortunately you can't actually relocate to like Winnipeg or any of the NHL based franchise teams, even when you have created teams that are taking over those teams, which is kind of dumb. So I can't relocate to Winnipeg, unfortunately, but that is fine because I'd like to stay in Atlanta anyways. So thank you for that, Kigorodov. The next comment is from HawksFan88. He says, for a right winger, I would sign Solani. Other than that, just fill any holes you might have and let the young guys develop, which also makes sense. So we probably will definitely bring in Solani. Let's take a look at actually what we have again, just because I am kind of a little lost on what we actually have. So we got 3 players, 6, 9 roster players. Yeah, so we could pretty much just bring in Solani, and then there's at least one other player that I will be bringing in. And then defensively, we do need to still add a few more pieces to our team. But I do think we're going to be playing Murray Blugis this year, just because the fact he's already listed as a depth defenseman, I'm going to give him an opportunity. So we could probably use maybe only like 3 more defensemen, so we could use one guy as depth. And then we're going to run with Carey Price as our backup this year, even though he's only a 77. So the next comment we have is from Kevin Jimena. He says, it would be cool if we get Mike Fisher as one of your depth forwards, which that would be kind of cool as well, because Mike Fisher obviously being a Sens player when I was growing up, one of my favorite players too. So that's kind of neat. So we'll definitely bring in Mike Fisher. And then we also have one comment from WMRA. He says, I usually do this every draft for my late round pick. Go into the depths of the scout rankings, 300 to 1500. Find someone with a good name and an unknown potential. Check their stats, and if it's good, pin them and then select them in the later rounds of the draft. I thought the Thrashers could give this idea a shot for next year's 7th rounder. This idea might help with future depth guys. Sounds good. We could definitely do that at the next year's draft and test that method out. But you'll have to remind me, because I might forget with all this recording and whatnot. So thank you for the comments, guys. Let's get into these free agent signings and get Solani and Fisher. And then we'll also have to pick up a few defensemen, I think. So Solani's the big one. He wants only 7.375 for 1 year. He must be close to retirement. But he's been playing pretty good in San Jose over the last 2 seasons, as you can see. So he should be a pretty big acquisition to the team. And he actually does fit our second line pretty well. So he's probably going to be playing like with Danny Heatley and Mark Savard, so that's actually a pretty good second line, I would say. So we're gonna have to outbid Detroit and New Jersey, which kind of sucks because Detroit and New Jersey are both Stanley Cup contenders. So we're gonna just jump this all the way up to like 8.5, and hopefully he accepts with us, because that's a big pickup if we could get him. So there's Solani, and then Mike Fisher I think is a centerman, right? Because I know, yeah, he played like center and wing for a part. He's only 26 as well, so that's a good pickup and should help out our, like, I would say like our third line maybe he'll be on with like say Aaron Ashman, stuff like that. So we'll bring him in for I might actually give him a 2-year deal because he's only 26, and we could always trade him away if for some reason we want to. So we'll give him like $3 million because I don't really care what I give these guys. So there's our 2 forward signings, and then I said we needed another like 3 defensemen. One of them is a depth defenseman. I don't really even know who to pick up because I haven't really looked into who's available in this free agency too much outside of my recording. We could bring in somebody like Andrew Ferentz, but Andrew Ferentz would probably take a decent amount of penalty minutes, so we could go after Nick Cronwall, which would be maybe decent. Yeah, he fits like our third pairing, but he's only an 80. He's an 84, and then on our third pairing, I don't know if that really makes sense. I kind of want guys that fit our system that wouldn't take a whole lot of penalty minutes. Like Aaron Miller, for example, is a good top 6 defenseman. We'll bring him in for 1 year. And then we'll also try and go after somebody that's not as good, just because I don't want to sign all the good free agents, because I want to see what the computers go after in this free agency. So we could also sign a veteran like Glenn Wesley to play on the top 6. He actually fits our top pairing, but we would rather a top 6. I don't want to bring back Brendan Witt because he took too many penalty minutes. Maybe Brett Hedican. Yeah, Hedican's perfect actually. He's a good defensive defenseman. And then we just need a depth defender, I think, and then I think that's it. So for depth defenseman purposes, we will bring in maybe Kurt Sauer. Yeah, we'll bring in Kurt Sauer. I think we actually had Kurt Sauer, didn't we, at one point? No, we didn't. I thought I already signed Kurt Sauer, but I think I was debating about signing him last year, but I didn't. So we'll just give him 1 year at like $2 million. And I think that's all the signings we need. Let me check just to make sure, because I do not want to have any holes with our lineup. So we just signed potentially 2 more forwards, which would give us the 13 forwards. So maybe we could actually use 1 more depth forward just in case, I think. And then we signed 3 more defensemen, so yeah. Okay, that makes sense. But Blue just would probably be playing in over somebody that's like a 78. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. That sounds good to me. And we will sign 1 more depth guy. I don't know who we're going to sign. Maybe just a centerman. Just because centerman at least could win face-offs and stuff like that. Like, I don't like signing guys that can't win face-offs that often. Like, for depth purpose-wise, like, who's a depth forward? Or actually, we could sign just somebody listed as a 4th liner. As long as they don't take too many pims. Like, for example, Stu Barnes is a decent one. He is dropping off a lot. He's got solid defense awareness, might fit our top line, so we'll sign Stu Barnes for 1 year. Give him just over $1 million. So that's a pretty cheap contract. I don't know how he dropped off so much, because he had a very solid first season, but then he dropped off in terms of points a lot, and then he played actually in the AHL briefly last year, so yeah, he's going to be a depth forward for us. And those are the signings we're going to make. So let's advance a few days, see if we get all those guys. And then we will take a look at what the computers signed for this first month of free agency. And then I think that's all we're going to... Actually, we're going to sim some of the next season. So Kurt Sauer accepts, which is good. Brett Hedican, Stu Barnes, Aaron Miller, Mike Fisher. And then we're waiting on the big one, which is Solani, which has not made up his mind. Come on, Solani. And he accepts. Perfect. That's a huge signing for us. And I think we're good to go. Let's take a look at our roster again quickly, just to make sure we got all those players we need. So we got 5 forwards, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and actually 11, 12, 13. Yeah, we're good on forwards, I think. And then basically this would be, Sauer would be our 7th defenseman, but the rest of these guys and Mary Bluegis would be our top 6. Did I sign Bluegis to his ELC yet? I think I did, right? Yeah, I did. Okay. Just had to make sure. Okay, so let's advance to the end of this month and then take a look at what the computer signed, because I think last offseason I meant to check this, but I completely forgot. So hopefully I don't do that from now on. Just because I'm kind of curious on what teams are signing around the league, if there's any huge ones. But at least we got Solani into our team, because I think... playing like Aaron Asham on the 3rd line with like Fisher and stuff like that, then playing Solani on like the 2nd line with Heatley and whatnot, and then our top line staying the same as it was in the playoffs last year. I think we have a very good top 9 potentially, and hopefully this team could go pretty far in the playoffs, because I think we should be a playoff team as long as the coach is good. Okay, so that first month of free agency, let's see who signed where. Any interesting signings, like players going to teams that they actually played for. There's also some trades. I'm not going to read those out, just because I don't want this episode being like way too long, but there's a couple trades. Signing wise, let's see. So, any big names signed anywhere else? No big names so far. Well, there's decent names that I know. Our former player Sean Avery goes to Washington, so there's a little update on Sean Avery's situation. Bill Guerin resigns in Colorado. Nashville gets Glenn Wesley. Brett Hull goes to San Jose. Martin Jelena in San Jose. Robert Esch signs in Toronto. We had him for a little bit. Robert Sfela, our former player, signs in Vancouver. Joe Nieuwendyk in Anaheim. That's kind of weird. Martin Gerber in Dallas. Our former player Steve Montador goes to Tampa Bay. Brendan Shanahan in Anaheim. A lot of people signing in Anaheim, it looks like. Anybody else intriguing? David Abisher goes to the Canucks. That's kind of weird. Not gonna lie. Jarrett Koski goes to the Canucks as well. Kind of scroll through this a little bit quicker because a lot of players signed. Alex Dagg signs in Europe. Scott Hannon in Minnesota. Andrei Kovalenko in the Islanders. Robert Lang signs in Chicago. That's also realistic because Lang played for Chicago, I think, right near the end of his career. So that's kind of cool. Anybody else intriguing? Alex Mcgilly signs in Ottawa. Okay. Same with Scott Young. Pierre Turgeon signs in Colorado. That's actually pretty sick. So he goes to a team that he played right at the end of his career with, and we're right around that exact same phase. I'm pretty sure we're going into the 06-07 season, technically. So that's kind of neat. Anything else? Slava Kozlov, our former player, goes to Boston. Doug Waite goes to the Rangers, where he started his career. Alexei Zhamnov goes to the Rangers as well. Connor Walchuk to Vancouver. Andrew Braycroft to Montreal on a 6-year deal. And Martin Biron signs in his, I guess, his favorite team growing up, probably in Montreal. Marco Sturm in New Jersey. Andrew Ferentz in Nashville. 3 good goaltenders in Boston, which is kind of weird. Tyler Arneson signs in Ottawa, which also makes sense because he was with the Ottawa Senators in around this stage as well. I think it was in 2005-06 he was with the Sens because he was briefly with us and then he went to Colorado. I remember that. Kimmo Timonen also in Anaheim. Simone Gagne signed in the Rangers. Wow, interesting. Pecorine resigns back in Carolina. Henrik Sedin signs in Tampa Bay for a 7-year deal. And that's pretty much it. Chris Draper signs in Vancouver. Al McInnes signed back in St. Louis. I don't know if he was with St. Louis last season or not. That's interesting. Okay, so that's all the free agent signings we're going to look at because now the next month is probably just going to be like enforcers and stuff like that, which aren't as intriguing. So let's go to the start of the season, and we'll take a look at what our lineup is like for the upcoming year. I'm thinking we're going to be a pretty deep team in terms of forwards. Defensively, we might be a little bit weak in comparison to some teams, but I think this team should be decent. As long as our goaltending does decent as well, like Carey Price plays pretty good for his first season, that would be nice. So it's just more reliant on our defense and our goaltending situation than anything. And the only thing is we can't send Blujas or Carey Price down to the AHL because both of them were in the CHL. So we're gonna have to keep them in our main roster all year if we want to do that. Or we could eventually mid-season send them back, but then it would just like burn a year off their ELC, I'm pretty sure. So okay, so let's see what we got for our lineup. What are our owner goals? We're listed as a seller. It's good. Let's go to edit lines, and we're going to already call up Blujas and make sure we got everything set up the way we wanted to. So Blujas jumped up to a 77, so he's actually not that bad now. And that's good, and goaltending wise is good. Carey Price went up to an 80, so we're actually playing a decent backup. And he's actually got the backup role already too, so it was good that we signed them to their ELCs. Let's just go best lines in the AHL for the time being. And okay, let's set this up. So we're gonna put Malkin back to the top line with Kovalchuk and in Bergeron, and we're gonna play Savard with Heatley and Solani, and then we're gonna keep. Wow, that third line, our offense is actually sick. Yeah, I guess Kuznetsov is gonna get demoted to the third line, but he's gonna get like first line power play time or something. But Aaron Asham, Mike Fisher, and Kirk Maltby has some pretty good chemistry, but I could use that +5, or I could try putting Kuznetsov to that third line, which I'm going to for the time being, I think. But actually, we don't have really a guy that could take faceoffs down there. So I think I actually will put this back to that for now. Maybe we swap Fisher and Kuznetsov at some point, I don't know. But we'll try it like this. And then defensively, yeah, we're definitely a lot weaker on defense. We're going to take out Kurt Sauer because Kurt Sauer's our extra for now, I think. Unless we decide to scratch Thomas Malik. Oh, damn. We're not even playing Marcel Hossa. Marcel Hossa should play over... Who wasn't? I guess we should scratch Peter Schaefer because Peter Schaefer doesn't put up the points, unfortunately. So I'll put Marcel Hossa on that fourth line as well. But yeah, our defense is a lot weaker. And that's the most questionable thing probably about our team. So we might need to make some trades in the season for like defensemen or something along those lines. So we'll take out Sauer and we'll put in Mr. Blugis. And okay, so what do we got to do here to make this work chemistry wise? Ooh, our defense is not going to have good chemistry regardless, I think. Oh, actually, never mind. There we go. So Malik and Blugis playing on the second pairing. Hedekin and Fahey playing on the top 6, and then Leach and Miller. Yeah, I don't really like our defense. Like, yeah, it doesn't have any negatives for chemistry, but the overalls aren't great. But then again, there's a lot of other teams with probably worse defense than us. So, but we still might have to make some trades for better defensemen because a lot of those guys kind of dropped off. And our goaltending situation is pretty good. We should probably take away number 31 from Martin Prusik though, because Carey Price is number 32, which just is weird. And there's our depth options. And then let's go to the power play unit. We will take Mulpy. Damn, yeah, well, I don't know why the entire third line is on the power play. Yeah, I think I'm going to just take Mulpy off the power play for sure. Put Marcel Hossa in there. Take Aaron Asham off the power play. And put in Kuznetsov. And that, okay, there you go. That's a lot better already. Let's put Heatley down to the second unit. And I think that's pretty much good. We're going to take Mulpy off again. Because I would like Kuznetsov to still get a lot of playing time. Because he's only playing 4th line minutes right now. And in our first line power play unit. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, that's perfect. Perfect and ready to go. So let's take a quick look at the AHL. Just make sure the right guys are in. Pinot is one of our fringe starter goaltenders. Brian Elliott's almost ready as well. So at some point he'll be in the NHL. And yeah, we'll play Robbins as our backup. And then the rest of you guys should be all in the lineup. Let's just make sure the right guys are in the right spots. So this episode might have a little tiny bit of simming. We're not going to probably sim too much. Yeah, I think I'll just leave the lines the way they are, even though, damn it, because Edmonds is not growing, Baikov's not growing, but, and Wall's like not really that growing, but they're all decent overalls in the AHL. Okay, so that's fine. Okay. So let's save that, and we're going to change the jersey number quickly for Prusek, just because I would like Carey Price to wear number 31. So we will make Martin Prusek number 30, I guess. Even though he never really wore number 30, I don't think, so we'll do that, and then Carey Price will wear number 31. There you go. So our captains this year, Mark Savard, Ilya Kovalchuk, and Danny Heatley, which makes sense. Kuznetsov has number 10 over Solani, so we'll just make Solani like an actual realistic number, like 88. Actually, we can make him number 13, since that's what he used to play with when he was in the NHL for a bit. And yeah, that's good. Okay. Our roster is set and ready to go. Let's simulate 2 months. I say we'll go to December the 1st just so we can get a little bit of a taste of what this team is made of. But I think our defense could definitely use some work in terms of overalls, at least if you guys think so as well. We could probably make some trades in next episode. Okay, let's see how we play this preseason. But yeah, I think this team should be pretty good for the most part. It just comes down to that defense and the goaltending combination if we could actually make the playoffs this year. So 3-2-1-1 in the preseason. Let's go 1 month just because I've got to get to December the 1st kind of quick because this episode's already around 20 minutes. And I don't want this episode being too long. I got to save my voice as well because I got to record a lot. So we start the season with a 3-game winning streak, but Kovalchuk then goes down with a concussion. Yikes. But that's a pretty good start. And then we drop 2 games, of course, with Kovalchuk out. So we'll take out Peter Schaefer, put back in Kovalchuk. But yeah, I think our top 9 is probably one of the best top 9s I've had in terms of overalls. But then again, I said that in, in Detroit, and our team just did not win really much in the first round. kind of a back and forth month. Like, we had a winning streak, then we had a losing streak, and now we're back on a winning streak. So we're 7-4 to start the season, which is pretty good. Only one goal again from Danny Heatley, which I'm still really concerned about Danny Heatley because he does not seem to be scoring as much as he should be. But at least he got 11 assists in 11 games, which is nice. But only one goal in 11 games is kind of concerning. I think last year he didn't even have 20 goals, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go one more month, and then we'll take a look at our player stats and all that sort of stuff in the trading block, and also the draft class for fun. And then that'll be it for this episode. But we're winning games right now. This team is playing pretty good for having a bad defensive core. But maybe the youth of Murray Blugis is helping us out, or maybe Carey Price is playing really good as a backup goaltender. And last game of the sim is a 6-5 win over Buffalo. We're now 14-6-3-1, and we're top of our division. So that's pretty good. And Danny Heatley's up to 26 points in 24 games, and he's up to 7 goals. So he's actually probably doing better than he did last year at this rate, I think. Let's take a look at our player stats via the edit line screen just so we can see what lines are doing what. So Malkin's been pretty good, 21 points. Bergeron's not been great, 17 points. He's been good, but he's not been as good, I would say, as the other guys. 17 points, though. 19 points for Kovalchuk. Heatley's been killing it. Mark Savard's got 22 points. And Solani's been killing it, 23 points. So in general, our top 6 has been really good in terms of scoring. Third line's been good so far. Kirk Maltby, Mike Fisher. Yeah, that third line's actually been really good. 18 points for Aaron Asham. Damn. And then fourth line has not really scored much. They only have 3 goals combined between the 3 of them. But they don't get a lot of ice time. Interesting. And then the defensive core, Leach has not been putting up a lot of points, which is kind of sad, but whatever. He's dropping off a lot. Aaron Miller's playing good defensively, but he's taking a lot of penalty minutes, which I didn't expect. 48 penalty minutes in 24 games. Thomas Malik's got 9 points. Murray Blugis has got 5 assists, and he's a plus 17. He also takes a lot of penalty minutes, 41 penalty minutes in 24 games. But a very good start for the young 20-year-old defenseman. Like 5 assists and plus 17. He's been really good. And in our top 6, Hedican is a even 0. He's got 27 PIMs. In Fahey's got a plus 2. So not a lot of offense from our defensive core, but that's not really what I was expecting anyways. And then goaltending-wise, Prusik has been really good so far this season. He's got a 2.3 goals against average and a .915 save percentage and 1 shutout. While Carey Price has played only 5 games, he's 1-1-1 with an .859 and a 4.26 goals against average. So he's not been good, but hopefully that gets better over the season. And that is that. Okay, so pretty good so far from our offense, and I would say okay from our defense, especially Murray Blugis did really good so far this season. Let's take a look at the draft class just briefly. I want to see if we know anything about it yet. This might be a franchise draft because there's some elites here, but I don't know. But this guy is from, what country is that? I can't even remember what country that's from, Croatia or something. But either way, this is kind of an interesting draft class. A lot of random Europeans. Maybe a medium elite power forward that goes here, which is kind of intriguing as well. Yeah, this guy's probably a medium elite player, but he doesn't have a good character, which is kind of bad. But yeah, this draft class might be pretty good, regardless if we make the playoffs. Okay, let's take a quick look at the trading block just to see what is out there, and then that will be it for this episode. So in terms of the Ducks, they just got some prospects out there, so nothing really we want to trade for. Well, we could trade for if our team does really bad next episode. Mark Denis available. An elite prospect in Sadikov's available by Boston. Yeah, there's actually some pretty good prospects in those first 2 teams, as well as in Buffalo. A lot of teams are trying to trade their prospects right now, it looks like. Kim Johnson, Ryan Johnson, a little tongue twister there, Chris Tyrion, and some picks. Dan McGillis, Tony Lidman, Willie Mitchell, Jan Halavich, and Sean Horkov. Some more prospects. Vladimir Malikov, who's dropping off a lot, Lassie Pirietta, Jeff Cowan, Ronald Petrovicky. Some more prospects. Yeah, it's kind of a good mix of stuff on the block, actually. Vishnowski, Markov, DeVries, Bates, and Allison. So there's actually some really good defensemen that could probably help us out if we wanted to make trades to get us to being a better defensive team. Like Danny Markov would be one of our best defensemen if we were to pick him up, for example. Europe has some prospects as well. Florida has some prospects. The LA Kings have Derek Armstrong, Dinas Subris, Roman Hammerlick, but 3 years left is a little iffy. And Todd Harvey and Jason Doig. Nathan Dempsey's on the block. Martin Biron's on the block. Sean Graham is also on the block. So a couple goaltenders if we wanted to send Carey Price back to Tri-City. Some more prospects. The Islanders have Yaroslav Spacek, Joe Corvo, Oleg Tverdovsky, Dave Scatchard, and Steven Reinprex. So some more good defensemen. Steve Yzerman's on the block. That would actually be interesting to bring in Steve Yzerman, but I don't know if we really have the use for somebody like Steve Yzerman, just because he's such a good veteran. Also, Alexei Zhamnov, Eric Rasmussen, Ian Laperriere, and Doug Waite. And then J.S. Aubin, J.S. Aubin still. And some prospects. Some more picks. But yeah, if you guys see anything interesting, let me know. Maybe I'll make some trades next episode. I don't know if I'll do the trade deadline in next episode. I think I'll sim up to the trade deadline. But if you guys want me to make some trades early, let me know. Like, if getting the Balkov is decent, but we don't really want a goaltender signed for 4 years. So, Matthew Dandino, Al McInnes. Yeah, there's always some really good defensive options out there if we want to bolster our defense, which I think is mostly what we want to do. Because that's probably our downfall of this team. I still would like to play Blugis all year because he's a plus 17 so far. But, yeah. Chad Kilger, Tom Fitzgerald, Matthew Schneider, Bob Bugner, and Alex Karpatsev. Okay. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode. So next episode, we'll probably sim up to the trade deadline. We might make some trades if you guys think they are necessary already. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down below. And I'll see you guys next time.